ladies and gentlemen. Welcome everyone to the Canadian Bowler podcast. I'm your host, Michael Patulli, and I'm here joined today by the wonderful Daryl Fitzgerald. How's it going, Daryl?
Pretty good, Mike. How are you doing?
Oh, I can't complain at all. It's another Saturday in Saskatchewan. We got some decent weather late here in August. How about you?
It's been pretty nice here. There's been some threat of wet weather this weekend, but it's been super hot. I mean, just going out to like do recycling or throw out the trash I've been sweating, and I'm just walking a few steps, so it's hot.
Yeah, we got all the rain I think we got in the entire summer over the last 2 weeks here. We essentially had a drought all summer, and then it decided it wanted to rain pretty much every day for the last 2 weeks. So it's been interesting here. I guess while we get into it, just a reminder, if you're watching this video, to give us a like, comment, subscribe. Any sort of interactions with our videos helps us out a lot here. So if you're able to hit that subscribe button, that'd be awesome. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year here. So we're slowly moving towards that goal. We're up above 750 at this point, so we're getting closer. So if you're able to, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're not able to listen to us today, we are available on all major podcasting platforms. So usually a day or two after the shows air, you're able to get us on Apple Podcast, Google, whatever you use for your podcasting. And I guess we have a pretty jam-packed show here planned today, so I guess just want to sort of jump into it, I guess, Daryl, hey?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so we have a special interview here, pre-recorded interview that we did earlier this week, Daryl and me. Pre-recorded. We'll put that in asterisks. With Mike O'Reilly, president of the Calgary Lawn Bowling Club. So we got some good information coming from this podcast here. So I guess we'll go right into it. Here's our interview with Mike O'Reilly. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're here joined by a special guest here today. We have Mike O'Reilly from the Calgary Lawn Bowling Club. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Oh, hey, well, thank you very much. This has always been an honor of mine to want to be on the show with you guys, and I wanted to thank you all for what you're doing for our sport across the country. And, it's just a great thing you're doing for bowlers here in Canada. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Well, I guess we can get right into it. So to get a little background on your club there, so like Calgary Lawn Bowling Club, I know has had some changes in the last few years, significant growth, and a lot of things have happened. So what sort of happened with Calgary Lawn Bowling Club over about the last 5 or so years?
Well, it's interesting you say that, Michael, because our club got relocated about 6 years ago. We had been located in the Beltline area of downtown Calgary for many, many decades, and the city did a land swap with our club and relocated us to the community of Spruce Cliff. And they built us 2 sets of absolutely great greens, new clubhouse with stadium lighting, and with that, moving into the neighborhood brought a whole new group of bowlers to the club. And I was one of those, along with my wife. And we had been couples who had been hearing about this club moving into the neighborhood, watching the construction, and we laughed and said at one New Year's Eve party, wouldn't it be amazing if we all just kind of got together and as couples and went out to the club and tried lawn bowling. And, once the club came, we joined. We had a great time. We doubled the membership. We went to about 125 members from the 65. Wow. A whole bunch of us stayed, brought new members into it. And lo and behold, I've been president now for 4 years and having a great time with it. Great community, lovely sport. I knew nothing about lawn bowls before it came to the community, I've got to say, but absolutely fell in love with it so quickly.
That's awesome. Speaking about that, you mentioned your growth in membership. Across Canada, we know that membership is hit and miss based on province that you go to and club. We have a lot of success, I guess, attracting new people, but we tend to have a lot of trouble keeping them for any length of time. What kind of things are you doing at Calgary Lawn? Because I hear through social media and I hear through just people out in Alberta that your club is doing such a great job of getting in and keeping new members. What kind of things are you doing to do that?
Well, I got to say, it is still probably our biggest objective to try to improve on our operations within our club to retain those members when they come. We've started what we call a buddy system at the club this year. This is the first year we've really focused on it, and it involves having an existing member, making sure that new bowlers are made to feel welcomed. They're not being criticized on the greens, and shown all the different game formats. And if they have questions, there's always a board member or somebody who's available to reach out to them. I've personally had very close friends who came and joined our club, but because of one instance of one person barking at them across the green, they gave up and said, we'll never be back again. And I really have to credit Jake and Anna at Bowls Canada for approaching us a couple of years ago to get us to start thinking strategically about how do we retain and get new members. And they've provided a lot of coaching along the way to help us, and it's been very effective. And social media has been an active part of it, but it's really just getting to know your members when they come in, making sure that they know who you are and you know who they are. And like this year, I've learned 70 new member names. I've personally coached them through their beginnings. And I'm always trying to be a friendly face, as are our other board members when they arrive. And we've had people who considered other clubs in Calgary. And they said, honestly, when we looked at the messaging that you put out, how friendly and welcoming you are to new members, and you're not focused on pushing etiquette as being the primary thing to do, but we see you dressed up in crazy shirts and having fun at different events. It just was a club that they liked and were attracted to. So it's taken time. It's taken us a couple of years to kind of get the momentum, and the biggest challenge will be next year, I think. And I think it'll mean reaching out to this year's members early next year, just to see in March or April, are you considering coming to the club? How can we make it a great experience? And I think we're going to put a lot of effort into that in the new year.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of really, really good ideas here that I like to hear. So the reaching out to the people early on in the year, I know that's a strategy a lot of clubs have started to enact recently, specifically where you send an email out early in the year, see what they can do to improve the club or get them to come back or get people more interested in the sport. So that's brilliant that you guys are doing that. And I know specifically with your social media and just your guys' website in general, it's one of the main things that's attracted me to your guys' club is you have this great website, you have good postings, like you've done live postings. I've seen like live streams. I think it was just the other weekend there. It looked like it was a work in progress, but you guys did have some live streams. So pretty active membership when it comes to the technology front. Is that something that kind of came naturally, or is that something you guys have kind of had to like work towards getting the membership to do?
Our technology side of it is really a couple of directions. The live streaming, I've got to thank Peter Mock at our club for encouraging us to even try it. Going on Facebook, and we provide some commentary, and yeah, it's rough around the edges, but it seems to work. We get about 400 viewings, sometimes 1,200, 1,500 viewings. We get people commenting from England, sometimes replaying some of the live streaming that we did from events before, saying, it's raining here in England, and we saw this, and we watched the recording, and it was Pat Bird and John McDonald duking it out for singles. And they loved it. They loved it. And on our website, I really have to thank David Wilson, who's one of our new board members, for kind of creating the branding, the look, the consistency that we have, and making our website really functional. And it takes a lot of effort, I got to say. It takes commitment, and we're just very lucky to have a board that has that kind of talent, and other volunteers along the way to chip in too.
Well, I mean, with our channel, we're no strangers to technical difficulties and having some issues and rough edges. So we're right there with you.
Oh, you guys do a fantastic job. We always look forward to to posting when you're coming up next and hitting the highlights. And it's just great to meet so many great faces from across the country. Michael Patulli, yourself, Daryl, and Luke, and you've had Derek Dillon out here, and it helps the community get to know each other. That's what keeps me attracted to the sport, is that it's not just a game, it's the community. It's all the people you get to know and the personalities, and it's just great playing alongside and against so many great personalities that come with this sport. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you talk a lot about the community, and I agree that lawn bowls, the thing that keeps me coming back for more and more and more are the people. I wouldn't have met the amount of friends that I have now without probably the sport of lawn bowls. I wanted to ask you about Calgary Lawn Bowling Club in particular. It's a thriving club. It's a beautiful club. What is it about Calgary Lawn that has produced so many great players, and obviously one of the premier coaches in Canada as well?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. It's Derek Dillon. Derek, his passion for introducing the sport and helping new athletes climb that ladder to improve their game has been remarkable. He had a huge impact on me, getting excited about the sport and getting into practice and more competitive levels. And he's inspired me now actually to climb that ladder for the NCCP competitive coaching program, so that I can try to help new athletes feel the thrill of standing on the mat at the Nationals, playing amongst some of Canada's greats. It's the greatest feeling in the world. I've been very lucky. I've been in the sport for 6 years, and I've been to 3 national events, including the indoors and singles. And I've played, Pat Bird, Greg Wilson, Joanna Cooper, like so many amazing players already. And, another person that I think has been so inspirational at our club is Ken Olsvik. Ken and his crew do a fantastic job on our greens, but Ken's passion for the sport and for new players and for competition is second to none. He loves the sport with all his heart, just like Derek does, and it's so infectious amongst all of us. And we're so fortunate and we're so grateful to have people with such passion for the sport and for introducing new players and supporting them all the way through. I think it's that kind of commitment that people put into the sport that really create that drive and that excitement within it. We're very lucky.
I definitely have met Ken a few times myself, and he's a very passionate man, specifically about the game. And as you're saying, he's pretty welcoming of pretty much anyone coming in there and wanting to really give bowls a go. You sort of touched on it earlier, like the newer complex, newer greens, Ken essentially bringing them up from scratch there over the last few years. You guys just recently had an article in the Globe and Mail, touches about the club in general, sort of your story of how you came in to the club, you couples sort of saw it. I guess, can you guys give us a bit of a background about what happened there with that article?
Yeah, sure. I think we were looking for some national coverage with regards to our sport, and we were just very fortunate they reached out to Alberta, and I think we've been one of the provinces, along with Saskatchewan, who has been fortunate to be able to add members, and they wanted to kind of find out a little bit more about the story behind it, and we had a huge advantage, right? Because we're moving a club into a new location, and that's going to help. Bring some new interest. And so we had that heads up, and we had new facilities, new greens, new excitement coming in. I think that all helped. But you got to work at it still. It's all too easy to kind of keep your club kind of closed and inclusive. And what we are really trying to do is make our club feel safe, inclusive, and welcoming to everyone who comes through our gates and who has interest. And it's amazing how people kind of look over the fence. They kind of watch, and I've had people tell me, that it looks like a fun environment, and it looks like you're there to support each other, and it gives them encouragement to come in. So, the message I would give to clubs across Canada is that don't kid yourself. People are watching the activities of what's going on in your greens, and the funner, the louder, the more boisterous you are, the more welcoming things appear. And we're all having fun out there on the greens, and don't be afraid to show it. We support each other, and when you make a great shot, be loud about it and enjoy it. And we've just been very fortunate at Calgary Lawn to have a new facility. We've worked hard at getting grant money to get new equipment. We've put in some fantastic, shades all the way from Australia. We've got new picnic tables that we put in there that I first saw at the Regina's Club when I was back at Nationals. And, when people see change and investment and things like that, it kind of garners that interest. And we've just been very lucky to communicate that and have people come in. But it has taken 2 to 3 years for people in the neighborhood. Like across the street from our club, there's a big apartment complex, and we're just now getting people going, I've been watching what you've been doing for 2 or 3 years, and I finally decided to come over and say hi. And then they come in and they become a new member, and they go, like, why was I waiting so long? Like, this is so much fun. And, we modeled our Monday night league after the Jack Attack League in Australia, making it super social. We've got music playing all the time. The beer is there. We didn't get so wrapped up in having skips and things like that, but rather we got people on the green bowling and having fun. And the messaging is it's more important to meet new friends than it is to keep score. And I think that's really helped people kind of come out, fall in love with it. And now they're starting to come out to our Saturday jitneys and our tournaments. And some of them even dipped their toe into the Premier League that Derek Dillon pulled together this past weekend. And it's making people feel welcome and giving them the support and encouraging them to take the next step, and having good coaches. We trained 7 new club coaches this year at the club. We were fortunate to get some grant money to help us with all of that. And that was a key message from Bowls Canada, is that the first face that people see quite often is that club coach. And if that club coach is welcoming and friendly and encouraging, you create a member for life. And I really am a firm believer in that.
You touched on so many great things right there. I'm not sure if everybody's going to catch it, but I'll try to recap some of them. Inclusivity, really, really important. The fact that we can allow anybody and everybody to play the game is super, super important. It's not just for old folks. It's not just for just a certain demographic of people. It's for everybody. Music, having drinks, having loud, fun competition. When I started out in bowls and my club and some of the clubs I played with, it was always so quiet. And if you heard some noise, people would stop playing, look at who's making that noise, and then continue. I couldn't agree with you more. The fact that I know my club has started to do music and drinks and barbecues and all that kind of stuff. It makes it so much more inviting. People want to see what you're doing. People want to look in and say, hey, they're having fun. Maybe I can have some fun by doing that. What is it that they're actually up to? It's fantastic what you're doing. That's all I can say.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. And the inclusive element, it really hit home for me during the pandemic. Before everyone got locked down and we put our lives on hold, you get into the sport and you play it, but then when it's missing, you miss the friends, you miss the competition, you miss the social aspect, the physical fitness that comes with it. It really checks the boxes of so many needs that people have. And when we can make our clubs available on a very cost-effective basis, the equipment is available. I gave up my golf membership last year was the first year in 40 years I didn't swing a golf club, and I was an 8 handicap and played really well and enjoyed it. But I just there's something about bowls that you enjoy the camaraderie, the competition, the community sense. It's a family. It really is. It becomes a family, and it's just been so great to be back on the greens again this year and having some competition. And I can't wait for us to get back into full drive next year. And we're going to model our success this year again next year. We're going to get out and let people in the community know early in the season that come the spring and the summer, we're going to be here and we're going to be welcoming and come out and give it a try along with so many others. And at the same time, we're going to put a lot of effort into bringing back those members that came out this year and encouraging all of our existing members to be supportive and welcoming for every new person that comes through our gate.
That's really just terrific, as Daryl ended up saying there. It's so many things you touched on are things that we love to hear, we want to hear. The one, I guess, program I see on your guys' website and that I know a little bit about was Pride League Lawn Bowls. So was that the league that you were referencing there earlier, or is that a different thing that your club does?
That's a different league. The Pride League has been in operation in Calgary for about 16 years. And they were playing out of the Inglewood Club before, and Inglewood was wanting to change the terms under which the league would operate, and that caused the Pride League to investigate other clubs in Calgary. And we were just very fortunate to have met them. And David Wilson, who's on our board, is the coordinator of the Pride League, and it really hit home to me the importance of creating a safe environment for people to play. And you'd think in today's world that would not be an issue to anyone. But that is what really hit home for me with the Pride League, is that they were just looking for a safe environment that they felt that they could play and would be welcomed. And as soon as I heard that statement, it's like, please come and join us, because it kind of breaks my heart that there's a group of people out there in society who just don't feel safe wherever they go. And it's just been such a great fit. And we'd love to see that continue to grow and get bigger and bigger. And what I love about the Pride League at our club too is that they're welcoming to everybody. And please come out and join the Pride League, play with us. And we get a lot of our club members coming out and playing. Best part is they have before COVID, they had some great meals that would be prepared, and for $5 you got this great, incredible potluck dinner that you could show up for, and it was a highlight for so many of our members. And I can't wait, once COVID is done, to see that reinstituted again, because it's just an entirely welcoming social feel. And people, it's almost like the bowls are secondary. It's to come out and play, be together, be social, and welcoming. And the bowls come out and they play that too, and it's just a real sense of welcoming and home for such a great group. So we kind of took that and modeled our new bowler league on Monday nights, to try to create that same sense of belonging and safety, and regardless of age or ability or background or anything like that. And it's worked out really well with the help of our club coaches and Derek Dillon adding some additional coaching along the way. It's that seems to be a winning formula. And if we could do that on every night, it'd be my personal goal to see our greens filled every night of the week, every afternoon, every morning. I would love to see our facility 100% utilized, and it's getting better all the time as people feel like they have more options to be able to come out and play at our club too. Yeah.
That's awesome. I really wish more clubs would take advantage of the groups that are out there in their communities and connect with them and bring them in and show them exactly what bowls is about and the social aspect, and just including them, really, when they may not know that it's out there and they're looking for stuff to do. They're absolutely looking for stuff to do.
They really are, Daryl. Like it's and it was Ken Olsvik, who said to me during the pandemic, he said, Mike, this could be our best year ever. I just have a feeling that people are really going to want to get out and do something that's in their backyard, because they're not going to travel. They can't travel this year, and they want to reconnect with friends and make new ones. And I really have to credit Ken for his insight, because that got us fired up, and it just only excites me about all the potential other groups that are out there. We get lots of corporate groups, big groups, small groups approaching us. And I know some of the clubs in Calgary have, pension clubs from some of the oil and gas companies that come out and play, on a Wednesday morning or something like that. There's all these pockets of groups who would love to come and explore the clubs, find a unique time that they can play as long as they feel welcomed. Our sport has something for everybody.
I just wanted to touch on that again. Talking about the Pride League that you have, I know there's some clubs in my area that do various groups, like first responders. They do a league to try to bring them out. They had a real big success with a transplant group. So it's a group that all surrounded themselves around having transplants of some kind.
Wow.
And they were looking for a sport. Obviously, not all of them can do full physical stuff. And they included them as well, and had huge success. So there's tons of groups that aren't necessarily big, but they're pretty hardcore. And if you get them in there, they will stay for sure.
I couldn't agree more. In our neighborhood, we've got a bunch of new Canadians. And I would love nothing better than to try to encourage them to come down to the club and get to know us. We're 2 blocks away, and with the apartment complex across the street. I know if I was in a hot summer evening sitting on my balcony watching and hearing the music coming, it's like, what am I doing here? I should be out with the fun and being down there and having a $4 beer and meeting some new people, and it's the challenge of kind of getting the message out there. But as long as the message is that you're welcoming and safe, I think it sells itself. Because really, we got 70 new members this year. Wow. By reaching out to the Facebook neighborhood group within Wildwood and Spruce Cliff, and we ran kind of a very short advertisement for 2 weeks. In March and early April, and that resulted in 70 new members. We basically had to shut it down because I was afraid we were going to be overwhelmed with too many people.
Wow.
We had people, coming in groups of 4, groups of 8, 4s, pairs, couples, all sorts of things. And I think it's not advertising on your website. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think you need to reach out to the Facebook social media groups. Like the Wildwood Awesome Neighbors has something like 800 or 900 followers. And you reach out to those little pockets. Doesn't cost us a dime. You show them friendly pictures and how much fun people have. You say that youth can play. Your kids can come out, and thanks to some help from Bowls Alberta, we were able to have all of our youth play this year for free. We added 15 new youth bowlers, and so on a Sunday morning, we had one green completely dedicated to all of our youth bowlers, and we had the other green dedicated to practice and other games. And to have Sunday completely full on both greens was amazing. I think it's all those creative ideas, Daryl, that you're talking about. There's so many groups out there that if it's introduced in a welcoming way, you don't badger new people about the etiquette of the sport, but rather just get them rolling bowls. Get them out having fun, support them, encourage them to come back, get them to tell their buddies and bring out more friends. It just blossoms. And I love the ideas that you've mentioned, Daryl, because it really gets me thinking about what we could be doing next year. It really does. It's endless.
some terrific ideas there with the Facebook groups and the neighborhoods that you're talking about. I know that that's what our club has had some success with, is the different neighborhood zones. We've advertised with them or just asked them to share our open house type stuff. So that is a great idea that I think a lot of clubs, if they can utilize that, it's, as you say, essentially it's free advertising. And if they have 500-600 followers or whatever it might be, it's obviously quite productive to reach out to them to get that little extra help.
Yeah, it's amazing. We added the 70 new members and we didn't spend a dime on the advertising. It was fabulous.
That's awesome.
Fabulous.
I guess the other topic we wanted to sort of cover with you guys was about the Alberta Premier League you just had over the weekend there. So that was a pretty interesting event to sort of see the little bit of streaming, as we talked about earlier. Peter had a little bit of streaming going, and then you guys had quite a bit of advertising. Derek obviously spearheaded that whole idea. Had some pretty cool name teams. I was actually kind of excited. I think we talked about it on the show a few weeks back, where we had the Stanley Park Stingers, Rotary Park Rangers, Edmonton Indoor Pyramids. That was the most interesting of the names, I think. And then the Calgary teams were cool names too. But can you give us a little background about the Alberta Premier League?
It was just such a blast, and Derek worked with Bowls Alberta, trying to create, a new game format. We're, trying to keep the interest up with the competitive bowlers within the province. And Derek came up with this wonderful idea of having teams of 5 get together. He rallied around some sponsors, including Ken Olsvik's Specialty Turf. Our club donated some money to it as well, and we received some money from Bowls Alberta, so there was some good prize money that was involved in it. 10 teams were formed of 5, and we had teams from Edmonton coming down, which was fabulous as well, and just a great way to reconnect with everyone. And we had participation by some of Alberta's best players, Joanna Cooper, Jen McDonald, John McDonald, just to name a few. And the level of competition, given the fact we really haven't played all that much, was amazing. And it was just a great brain child of Derek's to bring together. We can't wait to see how it takes off again next year. And we were just very honored to have our club be the host for it. And Peter Mock again got his live streaming going, and he ran out of data is what happened on his phone. So we were struggling to try to get another phone, but it just shows that with a little bit of ingenuity and some keen interest on the behalf of a few people, you can move mountains and create some pretty amazing things when you work together with a common goal. And we can only just thank Derek for all of his effort in what he did for that. And we can't wait to compete again next year. We look forward to who's going to be the host next year and who else is going to be there.
A little bit more on the Premier League. I was really curious about it. Usually when you see provincials and things being played, you see the typical people. You see a few new teams, but usually you see the top teams, the ones that are going to Canadians, and it's generally the same group of people that play. But in the Alberta Premier League, although I saw some players that I recognized, it looked like you had a ton of new people playing. What kind of environment did that create for people that may have never tasted like true competition before?
Well, we've had a lot of people in our club who have been climbing that ladder in their competitive play and eager to get it to the next level. And, we're creating just this upswing of new talent coming out of the province, and Calgary and our club seems to be attracting some good players that way. So it was pretty natural for them to kind of want to get involved and dip their toe in the water to see what this is like, because it's pretty intimidating for new players when it's called a Premier League, right? And the names that were there, and our club in particular opened it up to anyone and everyone who wanted to play. If you put your name down on the sign-up sheet, if you're a first-year bowler, we welcomed you. We got you onto a team. Our games committee created the balanced teams to work it out so that everyone had an opportunity to try it. And for some people, it was their very first provincial event ever. And we were playing in some cold weather conditions, and strenuous play. Even though the game format was shorter, you're still out there for a good 6-7 hours on Saturday in some challenging conditions. So, I was afraid some of them might decide, I'm not coming back. But, they grinned and bared it, and they fought hard, played well, contributed very well to the teams. And I think what it's going to do is just encourage them to say, hey, provincial competition is something I'm keen for. And I really admired those players who came out as new players to give it a whirl. And I think they surprised themselves. And I think we're going to see a whole bunch more new competitors in the Alberta environment going forward. I'm very proud of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great to hear that you pretty much would allow anybody that wanted to play to give them that shot and give them the ability to play in the event. That's one of the easiest ways to get people into bowls, get them into that early, I guess, for going for the athlete development path or pathway that they sort of lay out. Bowls Canada, that's one of the primary ways, is get them into the competition, see if it's something they're interested in, and if you have the coaching involved as well, it's a great way to potentially get those players that want to strive for that extra level of competition.
It's great. And, although I'm not a certified competitive coach yet, I'm working with a few of our athletes already. And to see how working alongside a coach can bring that higher level of confidence in yourself, their ability to compete just starts to rise so very quickly. And it's a thrill to see so many of our up and coming players get that ambition to try to compete at higher levels. And I'm just going to be so excited next year when I'm fully certified to be working with more athletes at our club and in Calgary and Southern Alberta. I'll be working alongside with Derek Dillon and trying to help him create a broader coaching network next year, because there's nothing like the thrill of standing on that mat at nationals and believing in yourself and playing as well as you can, reaching your potential and knowing that you're as good as any other player in the country. It's just a great thrill to be able to help someone achieve that. So that's going to be our objective next year, working with our up and coming athletes.
Yeah, I think Mike can agree with me here that coaching is a fantastic side of bowls. Some people think that playing is just the way to go and they play forever and never think about coaching. But I think we both tasted it. We know that you can be even more nervous watching the game than you are actually playing the game. And the feeling you get when your player or your team that you're coaching does so well just makes everything that you do worthwhile.
Oh, I totally agree with that. And to see somebody achieve their full potential, and know that you had a little bit to do with that, and how hard they've worked. I think that's the thing, right? It's and I'm studying different sports and sports psychology along the way, and it really comes down to putting in that effort. And those who can focus their time and focus what they're trying to achieve, see the results come that much quicker. And our sport offers coaching for free. Yeah. It blows my mind. Try to get free coaching in golf, and what are you going to pay for that? That's what this sport is just so amazing for. You can get into it very low cost. Like when I joined bowls, I gave up my golf membership at one of Calgary's big clubs because 1 year's annual dues covered my bowling fees for 50 years. It's like I gave up golf immediately, because now financially, this is the sport for me, and our club has new equipment. We've got access to fantastic coaching. It's just such a great sport for people. It's just so much fun, and I just wanted to be able to give back to the bowling community that's been so welcoming to me, and try to get as many people in our province that same thrill that I've been so fortunate and lucky to have achieved. Because I know there's a lot of people who have played for many years and haven't had the luck that I've happened to have in a short period of time, and I want to help as many people as I can achieve those goals. It's just and that's where coaching and working along with people is just so awesome.
Yeah, can't agree anymore with what you said there, because Daryl sort of alluded we're both pretty experienced coaches, and as you say, when you see all the work that athletes put into playing the game, developing, and sort of going along that pathway of becoming a more competitive player, it's very rewarding. Or getting to see them get that opportunity where you're saying no better feeling to step on the mat and play at nationals. So it's great to see your athletes experience that and get that opportunity as they go. I guess next year me and you'll be a competition who's the certified competition level coach sooner, I guess, because I'm in the same process as you right now. So
hey, congratulations, Michael. That's great. And they're going to be learning from the best. Like your whole family is just such an inspiration right across the country. Your mom is legendary, and I know when I went to Regina to compete at the nationals, hearing about your family, it was just so great to see the influence you've had on such a great community. Because Regina, the club of Regina and Saskatchewan, they love bowls, and they sure get behind their sports, and it's so neat to meet a family and have a chance to chat with you directly here, because you're one of my idols, and I get to see you guys on this show all the time. So it's great to be part of that, and congratulations, Michael, on what you're doing there with coaching. You'll find it so incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, I'm excited for the path. Like, I've been working on it a couple of years now, and I've finally put the wheels in motion. So early next year, same as you, I'll be certified competition. So.
Well, look out, Saskatchewan, man. Your athletes are going to be hitting it out of the park.
That's the hope.
Well done.
So say, do we have anything more we wanted to touch on here, Daryl?
That's a ton of information in just a short period of time. I think Mike, Calgary Mike, thank you for being on the show. Short beard Mike. Thank you for being on the show. It's very inspirational hearing all the stuff that Calgary Lawn is doing, all the great people that you have there, just doing the work, having the ideas to make it inclusive, safe, bring people from your community. It's all great information that I hope that our viewers take to their clubs, take to their provincial associations, and really ask the question of what can we be doing to raise the level of our club.
Well, and like as I said at the onset, I really have to thank Jake and Anna at Bowls Canada for a couple of years ago really getting us to start thinking about how we operate our club strategically, helping us think about how do we think about this as a business. You're running a small business here. How do you make it grow? And thank goodness they helped us, because through the pandemic we were able to not only survive, but I think flourish. I think we use the downtime to strategically set ourselves up, and I can't thank Bowls Canada and the support from them, and Bowls Alberta for all their support, and our city representatives here in Calgary. We've been very fortunate to work with some great partners, and being part of what you're doing here is every bit as important. So thank you for what you guys are doing too.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate the interview.
Well, cheers, you guys. This was on my bucket list to one day get on here. I was hoping it would be to talk about my great play of beating Greg or Greg Wilson or Pat Bird and the singles at nationals. But hey, I'll take this. This is great.
I can tell you, when you do, we will have you on here so you can gloat to everybody that you did it.
Yeah, we'll gladly give you that. We'll gladly give you that platform.
We'll make it a date then. Sounds good, guys. Perfect. I appreciate that very much.
All right, thank you, Mike.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Good interview.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I enjoyed that one there with Mike.
Forgot to say at the start of the program, you've got beards and glasses today. We're both wearing our glasses, so.
Yeah, I think that's the first time we've somehow coordinated that. We might have to think about this. Maybe wear contacts together next time or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Everybody, if you missed the full interview, it will be posted. This show will be posted shortly after we end the show, and we will be posting the interview in its entirety as a separate video, and hopefully sending out some sound bites. Like we said, for everybody, if you're looking for ideas, if you're looking to grow your club, Mike gave you a ton of ideas, and just one of those could help your club go through the roof, let alone all of them.
Yeah, like we really kind of touched on probably 3 or 4 very easy to enact points that he kind of talked about the way that they implemented them over the last few years, and most clubs could pretty easily do any of the things that he sort of encourages there, and they had positive reactions for them, and I've seen other clubs had the same reactions too. So it's definitely an interview worth looking at if your club is looking at trying to try some new things or implement some new ideas maybe in the upcoming years.
Yeah, it was fantastic. That was one of the interviews that somebody told us, hey, you should talk to Mike O'Reilly from Calgary Lawn and all the great stuff that he's doing. If you guys have more suggestions of people that we should talk to, let us know. We're not just looking for, national level people and people that go play in Australia or wherever. We're looking for those grassroots people that are doing the jobs, that are inspirations to the people around them and can be inspiration to everybody across Canada to try to just raise that level of our clubs and of our bowls and get more members, all that great stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We're always open to those grassroots conversations too, because we know that the social bowlers are also important to that, the working of a club and how sort of a club functions overall. So a lot of his ideas will definitely help with bringing in the grassroots players, and then in tandem with that, you're going to obviously get the competitive players too. So obviously helpful to try and encourage any sort of involvement in the game that we can.
Absolutely. Want to get into a few of the results?
Yeah, let's get into it.
So the past couple weekends had some big events that happened in some of the provinces. In Ontario, we had the Back to Bowls event. A big chunk of it was played this past weekend with men's pairs and mixed pairs. And then there's the Alberta Premier League, which we kind of touched on with Mike in the interview. And that was a big one. So I'll kick it off with the Back to Bowls in Ontario. I don't have a ton of results. Some of it is a little spotty, but men's pairs, there was 24 teams that played in total. And out of those 24 teams, first place went to Mike and Bob Bester. Second place went to Eric Gallipo and his dad, Rob. And third place was split. They amicably said, we'll both take bronze. Larry Chaput and Brian White, and Wainwright and Tom Rowe. In the women's pairs, they had 12 teams in total. And first place went to Elizabeth Cormack and Crystal Shepard. Second place went to Sue Roth and Paula Travers. And third place went to Katie Shuknecht and Sandy Weatherall. Really great to see that many players out. I know some of the tournaments were hit and miss with whether people wanted to go out and play, and this was supposed to be just a big Back to Bowls, which is what the title is, event, and it was played in Windsor and in Woodstock. So Windsor on the one side of Western Ontario, and then Woodstock kind of in and around the middle. And then the mixed pairs had 30 teams. I don't know if I've ever seen 30 teams in a mixed pairs event, but there was 30 teams in Woodstock and 8 teams in Windsor, so 38 overall. First place went to Laura Seed and Dave Anderson, and I know Dave Anderson's in the chat, so congratulations, Dave. And second went to Kay Jones and Rick Wood, and that match was actually streamed on Facebook through Laura Seed's phone. So if you're looking for something, maybe search out Laura Seed and see if you can find that match.
Yeah, as you're saying there, 30 teams, that's a pretty impressive turnout, specifically for sort of getting back to it, just getting back in the swing of things of event. That's 30 teams is a great turnout for an event like that. So that's quite encouraging to see teams coming back sort of at that level for something that's kind of just getting back into it type of an event. So that's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I'll just jump in for the Alberta Premier League then. So we do have the sort of standard results from there. So first place in the Alberta Premier League was the Stanley Park Stingers, probably my favorite name of the bunch there. Second place we had Rotary Park Rangers, and then third place was the Edmonton Indoor Pyramids. Again, I need to know the story behind that name. I'm sure there's some sort of a story that we don't know, because that is a very unique name. Fourth place was the Calgary Coyotes. So I love the names. I love sort of the creativity involved with that whole format and that event. So I was very happy to see the different names and the different shirts and everything they had out there. So that was a great event, and good job to Derek Dillon and Calgary Lawn Bowling Club for getting that going this year.
It's fantastic to see. One thing that Mike and I kind of chatted about before the show was sometimes it's hard to find those results, and sometimes it's hard to know exactly what's going on and when. We're asking you guys, the viewers, if you have events that are going on in your province, in your area, if you have results, let us know. Kind of point us in the right direction, because like we've always said, we want to shout out the champions. We want to shout out the big winners and give them their 15 minutes, I guess, on this show, and let people know that, you know, we actually care about these events and we want them to go well, and those that win them deserve to be shouted out.
Yeah, no, we're definitely willing to give people that platform, sort of touch on whatever events are being ran. So if we ever can get those results, we'll gladly talk about them on here, because it's great to see any type of bowls out there and sort of keep people in the know of what's happening and who's winning the events this year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I guess we had one other topic I guess you were wanting to go at. Was it about the media bowls?
Yeah, it's a question for you, I guess, and for chat in general, if anybody out there wants to chime in. We talk a lot about trying to get bowls streams. We try to get bowls on TV and showcased for everybody to see. The problem we have is that the format of our events are not really that kind to the casual viewer going on and taking a look. For myself, I love the traditional event. I don't mind going out there and slugging out 18 ends or 20 ends or whatever it is, having a great day of it. But for the average viewer, the people that we're trying to draw in and say, hey, come out and have a bunch of fun, that format just, in my perspective, doesn't work. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd have to sort of agree with you there. The traditional viewer, like if we're trying to talk about TV friendliness, I don't think most people watching on TV are going to want to sit down and watch an 18-end 2 to 3 hour lawn bowls match if we're kind of going with the standard format. I know they've cut down to 3 bowl pairs, 2 bowl triples. That's sort of added to sort of the playability on TV, but again, there's still probably 2 hour plus matches, so again, not the most friendly. If I were talking about what I think, I guess, good steps that I've seen, is the BPL specifically, I think is probably about as TV friendly, I guess, a format that we can do. They've sort of cut it down into the shorter matches. The games are usually just over an hour, around an hour long, subbing in and out of players, kind of the music playing in the background, like that type of a mentality. I think that's kind of where we're gonna have to move towards. I know the super high levels, you're maybe not getting the best winners all the time, but I think you're gonna probably have to do kind of an in-between where the longer games you might get the better players winning most of the time, but kind of that split between the two, where it's a little more TV friendly, a little easier to stream, and a little more friendly for people who maybe aren't familiar with the sport. That's sort of, I think you'd have to move towards that sort of BPL direction.
I have to agree with you there. I think when you bring TV into it, they're not bending to what you want. You're gonna have to bend to what they want. And if they want to slot you into, an hour time slot to show a game, run some advertisements, all that kind of stuff, that's what you have to do. You're gonna have to confine yourself to that. And how do you do it? Shorter, quicker games, maybe some less bowls, doing something with the jack. Those kind of things are what's gonna fit. So I don't know. I like the traditional game. I think there's definitely a place for it. Maybe with the national championships and provincial championships and all those kind of levels, playing the traditional game, doing all that stuff. But when we're trying to make it media friendly, there has to be some kind of event out there that we can televise and stream and make it enticing to people. Usually when you stream really long games, you're gonna get the bowlers watching. We want to get the non-bowlers watching and looking and saying, what is this stuff? And how do I go out and try this? It looks like fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. You almost have to stick with those kind of longer traditional events for the more, I guess, traditional championships, or when you're trying to find the best of the best, you do need to kind of stay with those old standard formats. But you almost have to, I guess, embrace the change or embrace the difference of the TV friendliness and sort of those quicker formats, and trying new stuff out, I guess, is the main thing. There's been lots of different groups and different brands that have tried all these different formats over the last few years to make it more TV friendly, to make it more enjoyable for that casual fan. So I like that bowls is kind of getting more diverse. People are trying to different formats, different ways of doing it. So it's being tried. They're working towards it, because I know we do need to diversify, and a lot of people realize that diversifying is what we have to do going forward. So yeah, I think in the future it's probably going to be one of those things that we're going to keep trying new things, and hopefully there's some sort of a format that works or kind of becomes the, I guess, cookie cutter variety to maybe get us a little more exposure on those TVs.
Now, what do you think about colored bowls? So we've added colored bowls into the game, and it's made it a little more exciting. You can kind of tell, if you're a bowler, who's who and where your bowls are, if they're all different colors, not just the standard black. But you look at curling, and one team's red, one team's yellow, one team's blue, right? You know which stones are whose, no matter who threw them, or I guess who slid them down the ice. I shouldn't say throw them, but for bowls, the WBT makes you use a certain colored bowl. Like, you can choose kind of weight and style for the most part, but you have to choose green or you have to choose red. I think the BPL, probably through sponsorships, does that as well. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking that all of them have the same colored bowls. Like Perth Suns, I think, have orange. Murray Steamers, I think, with Ryan, have like white style bowls. Do you think that's another step that we have to go to make it friendly, where one team has one color, another team has another color, and that sounds expensive?
Yeah, I think it's a step that is a positive idea to go towards. However, I agree with you. The expensiveness is pretty prohibitive for a lot of places. I know a lot of people with that World Bowls Tour format, and even if you're talking about BPL with sort of having the color bowl that is similar to your teammate, I know you can probably get a hold of a size 3 Taylor Ace if that's what you typically use, and use a different colored bowl than your normal one. Like, there's not going to be that much of a difference. So it's something where I guess the players have to be a little flexible too, because I know some lawn bowlers are a little superstitious and they like to use their same set of bowls because they're emotionally connected to it or whatever you might be. But for definitely, if you're televising it or you're wanting people who've never watched the game before to understand what's going on, having that color coding is pretty important, because curling, I think if you watch it, it's pretty straightforward. That's the red rock, that's the yellow rock, whatever you're going to talk about. And if we're playing lawn bowling and it's two people on the one team are with white and the blue, and then the other team's black bowls, like it's such a schmozzle. So having that color coding is definitely important, I find.
Some really good things to think about. For everybody out in chat and for anybody watching this video, if you have ideas about how to make the sport more media friendly, what it's going to take to get us on TV or to get us more people watching on stream, drop it in the chat, drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We want this discussion to keep going and keep these ideas rolling. I think it's important not only for us as hopefully new streamers on the market showing the game, but for national bodies and international bodies to look at and say, hey, you know what? These are the ideas that we need to actually push the game forward. And we're happy to take your comments and put them out there for everybody to see.
Okay, well, was that all we really wanted to touch on here today, Daryl, or is there anything else we wanted to bring up?
I have one shameless plug. There's a link in the description below. My club, Heritage Greens Lawn Bowling Club. So for those in Ontario and those that have a newspaper subscription of some type, there is the Reader's Choice Award for Heritage Greens to be the best bowling club in Kitchener-Waterloo. We could use your votes. It's great publicity. It'll help get some new eyeballs on the club. So the link is there. If you're able to vote. That's my shameless plug for today.
Perfect. We're always down for the shameless plugs. I know the Regina Lawn Bowling Club, they got one of the top 5 or whatever it is in our city, and they include alley bowling and lawn bowling together. So I know it was just getting the lawn bowling club in there, as I think they finished 3rd in the voting of the 5. So encouraging that they were considered one of the top 3, I guess, in the city. So it, as you say, some publicity gets you in sort of a leisure guide for us. I don't know how it works in that competition out in Ontario, but I'm sure it's going to get them a little bit of publicity and hopefully get a few more eyes on the place.
That's the idea. Cool.
Alrighty. Well, then I guess if that's all we got here today, just another reminder, like, comment, subscribe. After the video is done here, and if you need to, we will be on the podcasting platforms here within the next couple days. So with that, I wish that all your bowls be touchers.